Mexico City, and we'll get to the Mexican Inquisition shortly because many people do not know that there was a Mexican Inquisition as well. Not only there, but also throughout almost all of Latin America, that is Central and South America. Autos de fe, which was the act of faith, forced conversions. The torture chambers in holy houses in the subterranean areas. Here we have the Inquisition chair filled with steel stakes, and they would be strapped down and interrogated and forced to give secrets of their community. This is Judas's chair. As you can see, they were experts in torture. This is a water torture. I'll tell you, Adolf Hitler learned well from the methods used by the Inquisition, which was, by the way, originated, the Inquisition was, by the Roman Catholic Church, the department of the Inquisition. This is the pera, which was used to put in the mouth or the private human parts of the human body, male or female, aged, frail, pregnant, or what, no matter. Different methods of torture that were used. They were infatuated or obsessed with ropes, with wheels, with ladders, with anything that artistically, through engineering and otherwise, could cause and inflict tremendous pain, but keep the victim alive. They were obsessed with wheels to dismember human bodies. Obsessed. The rack was infamous throughout Mexico as well as throughout Europe, and particularly Spain and Mexico. Autos de fe, acts of forced conversion. Autos de fe, processions before the high tribunal that were humiliating. I cannot begin to explain the humiliation, the public humiliation, the methods. In my writings, I portray much of this information in depth. This is a photo that I personally took. Convento San Juan de los Reyes Católicos, a Catholic convent of the convent of the Catholic kings in Toledo, Spain, that still has, it still bears old, ancient, rustic chains on it throughout the convent where they were used to hang Jews. This is a portrait here, which I'll have to take from an angle, of the port where the Jews, when they were expelled from Spain, they had to rush, literally rush. It was a mad rush. It was a chaotic rush to get to the ports, to get to their floats, to get to the fleets and ships, to flee Spain, as it was later also Portugal. Here is a portrait of San Benito. The Alhambra decree, the edict of expulsion. Reading, "O Majesty, save your loyal subjects. Why do you act so cruelly toward us?" The edict, at length, the narrative of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella for the expulsion of the Jews, dated Granada, 30th March 1492, and a replica copy of it right here in ancient, in old Spanish, sealed and all. A portrait here of 4 very noble, wealthy Sephardic leaders kneeling before King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, and they appealing, please do not expel the Jews from Spain. It's the immoral thing, it's the erroneous thing, it's economically wrong and improper, etc. After all, Jews were very wealthy. For the most part, there was a lot of wealth in Spain. Tomás de Torquemada, the Inquisitor General, was eavesdropping behind that door, comes in when he finds out that the king and queen were about to not to expel the Jews, and says, if you do not expel the Jews from Spain, the blood of the Jews will be upon your heads. And there's a long story to that I won't get into. As I said earlier, Mexico had its own Inquisition. This is Hernan Cortés. Many of the conquistadores actually were of Sephardic roots. Some were compassionate conquistadores, such as Don Luis de Carvajal y de la Cueva and Don Juan de Oñate. And this is a place which we personally saw, the Convento San Diego, where they would burn the victims at the stake in Mexico City in the colonial sector. And it reads right there, frente a este lugar estuvo el quemadero de la Inquisición de 1596 a 1771. In front of this place was the burning at the stake of the Inquisition from 1596 to 1771. This is the Palace of the Inquisition in Mexico City, and these places still stand today. And this is the seal of the Mexican Inquisition. Every nation, every country that had an Inquisition had its own seal, and this is the Mexican Inquisition seal. We move on to then, they crossed the Rio Bravo, the Rio Grande, they came into America Southwest, specifically first into Texas and then into New Mexico, and from there multiplied and spread. They came across through Mexico, entering Port of Veracruz, Port of Tampico, came north. We have some photos here, some of whom I know, such as that little family here, which is my father's family. That is my father's mother to the upper right, second from the right on the second row, and her father and mother. The Elizondo family from Monterrey, Mexico, Monterrey, Mexico, which was in the hub of the Nuevo Reino de León. A woman that we personally know is fixing to make Aliyah as soon as she possibly can. There is Mark and his two sons, and of course he's made up his face for whatever purpose or celebration, who have made Aliyah, and they're living here in northern Israel. And I say here because as I do this, I'm in the Negev, I'm in the heart of the Negev, in Ramat HaNegev Regional Council, which is the center of Israel. We see the double lives that crypto Jews, Sephardic Anosim, lived. This is the Jewish matzah, the Jewish bread. Look at the flour tortilla. Look at the corn tortilla. Hid mezuzahs under crucifixes, gravestones with all kinds of symbols, such as stars of David, six-petaled flowers. This one we took ourselves. This is in Spanish and in Hebrew letters there, with the first 5 commandments in the Decalogue. How many Sephardic Anosim are there in the New World? That's another story. The Nuevo Reino de León, the lion. The story of the future of the Negev. Quotes about the Negev. Facts about the Negev. History is in the making. Photos, actually. Here is my precious grandfather and grandmother on my father's side. I wish I had my paternal grandparents as well, but next time. This fine couple that has made Aliyah, Moshe and Michaela, Mark and Jodine. And we're coming to an end. Many of them, our forefathers came in covered wagons, as we see here, right? Bringing their belongings. Don't have time to go into the maps as to where they came from, how they got here, and thank God for the native Indian, First Nations people that saved many of our forefathers, because they hid them in their tribes, in their clans, and they hid them from the inquisitors and the inquisitions. I want to conclude this little presentation with again with a quote of the prophet Obadiah: "The exiles of Jerusalem that were in Sepharad shall return and occupy the Negev. Then liberators will ascend Mount Zion, govern the mountains of Esau, and then the kingdom shall be the Lord's."